Plaintiff Leonard Rose dated the defendant, and he claims they had a passionate relationship for 2 years. But after that, the defendant cut him off, and all of his Viagra went to waste. Leonard is suing his ex today for unpaid rent. Defendant Lynn Cox says she only cut Leonard off after he took another woman on a trip and got caught. And that was the second time she caught him cheating. Lynn's countersuing Leonard for truck damages and emotional distress.
Start with you.
Your Honor, as you can see, she's a beautiful woman. She's 13 years my junior, and we had a passionate relationship for 2 out of the 3 years. It started out with her clearly telling me she's gonna open a candy store, and I was to buy jelly beans, which is those little blue pills. And for 2 years, 2 years it was.
She requested that you buy Viagra?
Once we got to the point that.
After your first intimate act?
No, in the beginning,
so she knew you needed it even before before y'all even got together.
Very possible.
No, possible. If she told you to get some before you ever touch, she say, "Go get you some Viagra." Hey.
So if I might, like I said, for 2 years, it was very passionate, and
I know it was with the blue diamonds. Go ahead. Go ahead. For 2 years, very passionate.
Very passionate.
Every time he has some blue diamonds on hand.
Until which point, like I said, for 2 years, and then things seem to, have gone awry. About 2 years back.
Price of Viagra went up.
No,
it did.
I got lots of those pills. I never got a chance to use because she shut the candy store down.
Yeah. Well, what he didn't tell you, Your Honor, was that he was tripping, which means he took a girl on a trip. He got caught cheating not once but twice.
That's what you get.
The candy store to get closed down.
Go get you some pills.
No, I didn't.
Go get you some Viagra.
I promise
and
you,
the man
Your
get the Viagra, he want to touch everything he see.
No, first of all.
Because he can't stop.
No, sir. That's
and now you want to get mad. Now you want to get mad.
That's not how it happened.
It is.
Actually, no, I promise you it didn't. I just said you need to come correct. However that meant, whatever it meant, he took it upon himself to get him some. Actually, he had the yellow pills. He didn't have the blue ones. He got the yellow ones. The blue ones was for his prostate issue. So with that being said, I never did tell him to go get some Viagra. I never used that term. I never did say that.
You just said you better come correct.
Come correct. That's correct.
Come correct or you ain't coming back.
That's right. That's right. So the candy store didn't get closed until about a few months ago after he got caught tripping, taking a chick on a trip.
Plaintiff Leonard Rose is suing his ex-girlfriend, who claims she cut Leonard off after she caught him cheating twice.
Tell me about it.
That's how he got caught. So
tell me what occurred.
In May, let's back up. In May, I saw him using the computer looking for places to go. So I asked him, what was that about? And he said he was looking for his friend and his old lady to take a trip. And I was like, well, he worked for Princeton for years. Why does he need you to help him plan a trip for his wife? So he said, well, they just don't know where to go. And I said, okay, left it alone. Fast forward June, latter part of June, I found his work schedule in his pants pocket, which was in my truck. Now, first of all, what is he doing with extra clothes in his car, in my truck? So the schedule was hanging out. So normally he puts the schedules on the fridge where I can see them and plan accordingly. So this time I saw 2 days of him being off in conjunction with 4 days vacation. So then he lays the foundation and says that his son needs him to help him move. So I said, okay, when are we going? And he looked at me, and I'm looking out of my peripheral vision, and his shoulders sank to the ground. Yeah. And I said, I don't need that far in advance notice because my job is very flexible. So I said, how are we going, flying or driving? He said, flying. I said, oh, okay. So I pull off. Next week, he tells me we're having lunch. he says, well, Lynn, I got a hold of Terrence, and this may not be the trip for you.
Oh.
So I'm playing, I'm like, okay, what do you mean? He said, well, he's not like my other son. I said, well, what could he say to me that you wouldn't defend me on, or that I wouldn't say back? So he said, well, he's just not like him, but we'll go on a trip. So I said, all right, which I had no intentions on going anyway. So I asked him if he was going to finish the backyard. Your Honor, the backyard was a mess. It looked like Fred Sanford's yard. So he's repairing things that doesn't pertain to us, like the fence. Why? The people just repaired the fence 6 months ago when there was an accident and somebody hit it. So I said, well, you may as well get somebody to cut the grass. So he snapped. I guess a man don't want nobody else touching their grass, but if it's 12 inches high, somebody's got to cut it.
That's right.
So he snapped, and I'm like, why are you snapping at me? Why are we having this conversation like this, and why are you so aggressive about me just making a suggestion? He says, well, just because. He's like, I don't need anybody to tell me what to do. I said, okay, whatever. I said, well, since we laying it on the table, let's lay it on the table. I said, don't think I don't know about your trick trip. Don't think I don't know about your trip.
I like the way
your trip.
Trick
I said,
trip.
yes, trick trip. Mm-hmm. So I said, I saw your schedule last month. You lied about your son. Oh, and let's not forget you left your phone and you had to ask your son where he lived, what airport he lives close to. And I found a receipt stating he was in Savannah, Georgia, and the hotel for one day, but he was gone for 6. So you
got your information.
Look.
We need you in U.S. intelligence.
And look, he's just not smart enough to cheat. Prior to that, now I work for a major department store, and he allowed me to use the credit card, so I was gonna order me something for Valentine's Day. Well, I went on the counter, and there was some lingerie, and it didn't come to my address, it went somewhere else.
So you reviewed all his credit card charges?
I didn't review the credit card charge, the Macy's card that I was going to place an order, which he gave me permission to use.
Yeah, and you reviewed all the charges of the past.
Yes, absolutely. It came clear as day. And then I thought, well, where the heck is this going? I was looking for a package for real.
What did you find out?
I found out that he sent this to, I believe, an ex-woman that he dated in New Jersey, and just so happened he was already there when I was reviewing the charge. He was in New Jersey, so he sent it ahead of time.
When you asked him about all these things, what has he said?
The first time,
it sounds like you had him red-handed. Go ahead.
With the lingerie, he just looked at me like, how the heck? And I'm like, duh, I work there. The second one, he said, if I didn't want to be with you, I wouldn't. I said, the one thing I ain't gonna do is play games. I don't play games. We made an agreement that if we decided we wanted to see someone else, we would let each other know. And regardless of what the outcome or our feelings, we would be honest and upfront. And then we would go our separate ways. Because I told him I don't play games. I'll just get rid of you. I don't have time to cheat. You just gone. You just gone. Plain and simple, because you don't have to tell me more than once that you don't want to be with me. You ain't even got to halfway tell me.
That was his final response?
That was his final response at the moment. So when he got back, I did tell him I was going to pick him up from the airport, which I knew I wasn't. I knew I wasn't. I knew he told me he wasn't getting in till 1:30, and I was like, okay, that's even better. That's better, because then you got to hustle for a ride, spend that money. You want to take women on trips, you're going to spend some money.
At 1 in the morning?
At 1 in the morning. Actually, he didn't get home to 4 because I didn't answer the phone, and he probably couldn't get a ride. So, oh well.
Did that teach him a lesson?
I don't know, because I ain't had no conversation or relationship. That's when the candy store got shut down.
And his pills stacked up.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Plaintiff Leonard Rose is suing his ex-girlfriend, who claims she cut Leonard off after she caught him cheating twice.
Sir, all this cheating occurred. We'll get to the unpaid rent, but she wanted to express her concern and talk about why the relationship ended.
Okay, Your Honor. Some of the things
the Viagra pills had you going too much.
Some of the things that she's opened up a keg of worms. I'll start with, I met Len in November of 2019, over the phone. She was, working with Macy's. We began to talk. We talked every day for quite some time, and then we made the decision. She came to New Jersey to meet me, to my place. She stayed for a few days. We continued to talk, and we made a decision that, wanted to get to know one another better. So I made a decision that I would see if I could transfer my job there. So I did do that.
How long had you all been dating before you changed cities to be with her?
About four or 5 months.
Okay, so you decided you were gonna move where she was.
Yes.
Had you been in the candy store by then?
Yes, I was in the candy store.
Okay, so that candy store
the first
had
time
you
I met her.
give up all your worldly possessions, Doctor. That candy store had you give up all your worldly possessions, including your job, and skip town.
Well,
I'm with you for that.
Well, as I said, Your Honor, I met her then. And let me just say this to you. When I met Lynn, and she's an attractive woman. She's a beautiful woman. She's a very good woman, I thought, at heart.
Ooh.
But when she tells you a lot of things, I say she's opening up a keg of worms. Lynn was not just in my Macy's charge. Every one of my charges right now is on hold and lockdown because she's gone into my accounts. I was paying the rent. Lynn was not only in Macy's accounts, she went into a Chase account, which she knew nothing about, which is where my rent was being paid, because I was having my Social Security go straight into that, because she had problems at the apartment paying $400 and some odd a month rent. There was always some issue with her and the landlord. So Lynn's not only been in my Chase account, she's been in a CFNA account, which she used a card. We hadn't spoken in months. She used the card. I actually had filed a complaint against her for fraud because it was not only the card that she used, there was a theft of the card. She had the card, told me she didn't have the card, sir.
Why do you think she did all these things to you?
Well, sir, there are a couple of things going on. I didn't know all these things about Lynn until we got involved in it.
No. I'm saying, why do you think she did all these bad things to you?
Well, it wasn't why I think.
Yeah.
I think I know.
Yeah. All right. Well, how do you know?
Because
why she want to do these bad things to you?
Well, Your Honor, I've been good to Lynn.
You don't answer my question.
Well, but I can't.
You don't know.
No,
because I asked you a
can't.
direct question and you're telling me about something else.
But
let me ask you again. Why do you think she did all these things to you? Going into your personal accounts, taking and charging and violating you in such a way. Why do you think? Is there a theory by now? It happened for a while ago. By now you should have a theory on why she did it. What is your theory?
Well, I believe that that's a part of her nature, and I'm
part of her nature is to steal and look up credit.
No,
all right,
so,
that's your answer.
No, she told me very specifically.
What do you mean by What do you mean by part of her nature? What does that mean?
When I met Lynn, I didn't.
No, I'm not asking you that. What do you mean by part of her nature? Because that typically means that is part of a person's character.
Okay.
And so, is that what you're saying? That she has a permanent character flaw, suggesting she has stolen from you?
She told me very specifically, at the conclusion of her last marriage, she ran up the husband's credit cards on the way out the door.
When did she tell you that? When did she tell you that?
She told me that, sir, about 3 or 4 months
after you started dating her.
Well,
and you were a big enough sucker to wait on her to do it to you.
I didn't.
I know you didn't do that. I'm just using his logic. I'm just using his logic.
Yes.
So you've made it very clear how you feel about her. You think it's in her nature to steal from you.
Plaintiff Leonard Rose is suing his ex-girlfriend, who claims she cut Leonard off after she caught him cheating twice.
Let's go to the $2,200 in unpaid rent.
When she slapped me on August 3rd, I told her that was the end of the relationship because there was no reason.
What was the agreement on rent, and how did she break the agreement? You're suing her for $2,200.
Because we were involved in a relationship.
I need specifics, sir.
Yes.
What was the agreement? You're suing her about rent. Before we can get to whether she owes you, you have to tell me the agreement.
The agreement was that I was going to pay the rent.
100%?
Well, I just...
You don't even know the agreement, huh? Yet you want to sue her for something you don't even know what the agreement was.
Well, I said that I would pay the rent.
100%? Yeah,
Well,
you see, you don't know the agreement.
I was-
Let's get to you, ma'am.
I was paying
3,007. There ain't
100%.
nobody playing games with you.
Thank you so much, sir.
$3,788. Go ahead, ma'am.
Sir, he actually gave me the information to go into his Chase account. I actually have his social security card and his driver's license to boost his credit. He came to town talking about he's gonna buy me a house, build me a house, and he don't even know where to start as far as finances. His credit score went down, so we went into the Chase to boost his credit for paying rent. So you have to put the account information in there. Now, needless to say, I didn't realize that they were gonna ask to change the account, but I just added a number. He knew that.
Okay, let's get to what he's suing you about. What do you know of the rent?
Okay,
he can't tell me.
Right,
Maybe you can.
He wants to change the agreement after he
That's
got
what I'm
caught.
asking. What was the agreement?
The agreement was he would pay the rent, I would pay the utilities.
How much of
he
the
would
rent?
pay all the
There
rent, and
you
I
go.
would pay the
Yeah, easy
utilities.
that was.
The
Go
utilities.
ahead.
I would pay the utilities, do the other essentials for the house.
Beginning when?
And I'm sorry.
That was beginning when?
That was when we first moved in.
All
and
this-
I took care of the house as far as cleaning and cooking.
But the agreement was he'd pay 100%
He would pay
of the
all
rent.
100% of rent.
All right, so
Needless
we're
to
going to
say,
get to
I
him
paid
and
the deposit.
try to get an
Okay.
understanding. But
Okay.
he's confused, clearly, because he couldn't even answer my question.
Right.
Truck damages and emotional distress. How does he owe you for that?
So when he decided that he wasn't going to drive my truck anymore and I wasn't going to use his car, which I work from home anyway, my truck was a total wreck. The back end feels like it's going to fall off. When you turn the corner, the wheel feels like it's going to fly off the car. He damaged my key. He broke my key back in December. He was going to buy one of those keys from those kiosks set up at Sam's Club, but you cannot buy one of those because it has to be programmed. So that's where the $390 come into. I have had some extensive work and I still have to have some work done to my vehicle. He's been doing side hustles with delivering people's items. He even brought a picnic table home one day that was inoperable. The legs were falling off. He put all this junk on the back of my truck and he damaged the suspension of my truck by overloading it and taking people's things from Lowe's.
You discussed it with him?
Yes, I did, and
What'd he
I told
say?
him. He said, "Oh, babe, I'm not going to overload it." And I said, "Because this is my work vehicle. This is the business.
But did he admit he caused the damage?
No, because we haven't really had a conversation
About the damage.
Right, about the damages.
All right. Sir, first of all, let's go back to this rent, get this out of the way. Did you agree to pay 100%?
Yes, I agreed to pay the rent.
Okay, and 100%?
Well, it would have
There
to be
you go
100%.
again. Truck damages, do you owe her for that or not?
No.
All right, good enough. I believe you do based on your testimony today with me. Therefore, your claim is dismissed and yours is granted. Have
Thank
a good
you.
day.
Yeah. You're done.
Leonard, do you want to say
Thank
anything
you.
to Lynn?
Beg your pardon?
Do you want to reply or say anything to Lynn?
Trick no work, does it?